Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Bird Brothers, two brothers in Ohio who are lifelong Eagles fans. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Jaguars. We put a preview video out of Eagles Jags, so go check that out. You'll see Devontae Smith on the thumbnail. But we're going to talk a little bit about the Jags game coming up, and then we're going to do a reaction video later, post game. So, first of all, the Jaguars are 2-1. They're on a 2-game winning streak. So they opened the season. They lost a close game to the Commanders.
Yeah.
And they beat the Colts. They shut the Colts out. Colts have been struggling, but they shut them out. And they're an NFL team, and they scored 0 points. Then last week they beat the Chargers 38-10. And I haven't been keeping track of the Chargers a whole lot. I just know that they're super, super talented. They've got
Yeah.
Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack rushing the passer, and Trevor Lawrence was sacked 0 times. So
Yeah.
last week we sacked Carson Wentz 9 times. Hopefully we do the same. But Bosa and Khalil Mack, I mean, those two
Yeah.
guys are probably better than any individual pass rusher we have on our team, and they had 0 sacks. So Ryan, what are kind of some of your thoughts coming into the Jaguars game, and we'll give score predictions as well.
Yeah. I do think the Chargers game is a little, I don't know, inflated because a lot of people hyped it up. Herbert was pretty injured. He's banged up with some rib. I think he's got like torn rib cartilage or um pretty. I mean, not a horrible injury, but a pretty significant injury for a quarterback. So I don't think he's playing at top notch. Bosa also left with an injury. And then they didn't have Keenan Allen, so he didn't play either. So a few things there to just keep in mind. I do think the Jaguars are absolutely moving in the right direction. I think they're well coached, as Eagles fans would know. I think Doug Peterson's a good coach, and I think it's another situation kind of like the Lions. They believe in their coach. They're young, they're hungry, and their quarterback for the first time in his career so far has probably a coach that is push him in the right direction. It seems like Lawrence has struggled, or um, they also got him some weapons. Christian Kirk looks good. They target him a lot. James Robinson's being used like he should be. But they have Etienne as well. So yeah, they're good. They're better than people think. So I think it's similar to how we see the Lions play teams tough all year long. So they're a team that can come out and beat anybody if you don't come in prepared and uh, you know don't take it easy. Don't take your foot off the gas pedal. So yeah, I think we'll do fine as far as that aspect. I know they've been dealing with injuries, like I said, but or not the Chargers are dealing with injuries, so I don't take as much into that game as most people have. But nonetheless, like you said, they're an NFL team. Uh, Everyone deals with injuries, and they came out and won pretty easily. So I think we just can't take them for granted. I think we'll get pressure on Lawrence. Their offensive line's improved from last year, but I think we'll get pressure. I think we have a better front overall than the Chargers do.
Yeah, I mean, because their offensive line was pretty horrendous, wasn't it, last year?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they added. So Cam Robinson's playing pretty well so far this year. And then they added Brandon Scherf, which I think is the biggest addition. I think he plays, I want to say right guard for him. Plays the guard position, but I think right guard. Um, but yeah, they have a lot of young players, man. Devin Lloyd there. They have Josh Allen on the edge. And then obviously the number one overall pick, Trevon Walker, has been making a little bit of noise. So they have talent, man. They have a lot of talent, and they're young and they're hungry, and they have a coach now. So I'm a little worried about it. I mean, I'm worried. You worry a little bit every week because, like you said, it's the NFL. But I do think they're better than people give them credit for. It's just we're so used to seeing Jaguars, and a record of 4, 5, 6 wins at most, and I think you can kind of sleep on teams like that haven't been great, in a while. So I'm a little worried about it just because I don't want to get this big, like Kelsey talks about, get your head big because we're 3-0, and then you come out and get smacked by the Jaguars because you couldn't stop Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
3-0 can quickly become 3-2.
Yeah.
And it's like, nothing. So, yeah, I think we've got very good leadership. We're fortunate to have a very good leader at quarterback.
Yeah.
There are not very many in that he's developing as a passer, so super excited about that. There are not very many men, period, on planet Earth who think and can lead like Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, let alone be 24 years old.
Right.
However old he is, 23. Is he 24?
I think he's 24. He could be 23, but
Yeah, 23, 25. Like, he's got an elite mindset, trained by Nick
yeah.
Saban, and excited about him. So I'm not really worried about the Eagles, getting distracted with Jason Kelsey, Fletcher Cox, Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham. Like, we've got some strong pillars there, and some of our bright young studs. And this is not particularly about the Jaguars necessarily, but I'm just really excited about where the Eagles are going, man. Because when you think about all the leadership I just rattled off, who have been there, done that, and they know what it takes, and they've
Right.
gotten complacent, and they've seen where they've gotten complacent in the past, and they've learned from that. But then you factor in Jalen Hurts, leadership, came from Alabama, came from a winning culture.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith is not a diva. He's a hardworking, highly talented, from Alabama, winning program. Landon Dickerson,
Yeah.
Alabama. Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, winning programs. Even Josh Jobe, Alabama. Like, so, even though Jobe's not going to be on the field, Dean hasn't been on the field much. Um, I think we've got a strong leadership presence. So I don't think we're gonna not show up.
Right.
So I think we'll win the game. My prediction for this game is going to be 28-24. I don't like predicting scores because
Yeah. It's very difficult.
it's very difficult. It's
It's
just
not a thing. Yeah, it's like predicting fantasy football.
it's
You,
absurd.
yeah. Yeah.
What I do think is that it's going to be a close game, and I think the Jaguars have a very talented team. Um, I'm interested to see how we scheme up Trevor Lawrence. We caused Kirk Cousins to struggle.
Yeah.
Um, Probably the biggest accomplishment of the year. Carson Wentz. We had 9 sacks. We did some good things on defense. I also was watching the game with my wife, and just she's like, "Oh my God, he just holds the ball forever." It's like, yeah, it's like 1,000, 2,000. Okay, it needs to be out of your hand. You need to make a
Yeah.
decision. And then 3,000, he's getting hit. The ball's getting stripped. Like, he just won't learn.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what Lawrence does. Big, strong, mobile, talented, not really afraid of their wide receivers. Um, Kirk's looked good, but we've played better and performed well against him. So, um, if you match up ETN on TJ Edwards, that could be a problem
Yeah.
potentially. Um, their pass rush could be a problem. Josh Allen is a really good pass rusher. Travion Walker is really good talent. They've even got another corner that I really liked. He was one of the top corners coming out of high school. He played for Georgia.
Mhm.
They selected him in the second round, but he's like 6'2", long, lean, ran a 4.3 40. He was
Right.
he was the second best corner coming out of high school behind Derek Stingley. They were both 5-star guys. I forget his name, but I liked him. I saw he had an interception a couple weeks ago. So that would be my prediction, man. I think it's going to be a close game. It is in Philly, so we have
Yeah.
that advantage because this team, they've won 2 games in a row, and they're young and they're starting to believe, and they got a head coach that's won a Super Bowl, but they're coming to Philly, and we're 3-0. And I think that's going to be a hard environment for them to play in.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I'm a little more lopsided. I do think it's gonna be tough. I've seen a thing where we scored something like 70 something percent of our points are in the second quarter. And that scares me a little bit. I like the jump in the first half because I hate when we start slow and we go into the half, we have 3 points, and it's like now it's not a minor adjustment. Usually it's like, okay, we need to change something because we're not moving the ball, but we're moving the ball a lot in the first half. But and maybe it just depends on the score, but it shouldn't to me. Don't take your foot. I mean, sure, if it's late in the fourth quarter and we're up 25, you don't need to keep like chucking the ball down the field. But I don't want to start taking my foot off the pedal in the third quarter because these teams they're solid. They have Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Marvin Jones, and they have Evan Ingram they picked up in the offseason. They have James Robinson, Travis Etienne. They can score points. So I'm hoping we have a little bit better of a second half. Not that it's been bad, but just kind of just keeping your foot down, keeping forward, and just at least until we know for sure. But I'm gonna go 31-20, and I think it'll be a little closer in the first half than it has been. But like you said, it's very hard to predict that stuff. It's like fantasy football where you pick the perfect lineup and some guy beats you with like three backups and a mediocre quarterback, and you can't predict it. But yeah, I'm gonna go 31-20. I think it's gonna be a little closer in the first half, but I think we'll get the job done. I think again, pressure is gonna be a problem for them because I don't think they've faced the front. Like I said, Bosa wasn't in.
Oh,
He
Bosa didn't play.
I think he played. I think he got hurt in this game, but I want to say he got hurt in the first half. Um, Khalil Mack's still Khalil Mack. He's not what he used to be, but he's still very, very good. Bosa is definitely their best pass rusher when healthy, but Bosa can't stay healthy, it seems, so far. But one thing I do want to point out I listened to was against the Commanders, we ran five down linemen, and three of the five were Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, and Javon Hargrave. So we ran sets like that. We're running three defensive tackles, and then I believe it was Reddick and Graham on the ends, which is just scary to think about. If you're an offensive line, I mean, trying to prep for that, it's pretty crazy to think about that you're not only going against Fletcher Cox, you got Javon Hargrave, Jordan Davis, and you still have to deal with the edges of Graham and Reddick. So
Yeah, and then so sometimes they'll bring five, sometimes they'll drop a man.
yeah,
So I like the value of that. I mean, I don't know. I want relentless pass rush, but like that's what fans want. Like
yeah,
bring in house, man. Like bring everybody. Like knock their quarterback unconscious. Just come out.
right,
But I can see the value of, all right, 5-man front again, gonna be tough to run against, and don't know really which of these guys is dropping. Maybe they both come, maybe one drops. So which side of the field is gonna have an extra zone, right?
yeah,
So if you've got an inside receiver, say you're running like 3 wide receivers or even 4, and you've got 2 slots, or you've got 3 wide receivers and a tight end. When the ball's snapped, you're making the quarterback think post snap.
yeah,
So a lot of quarterbacks can identify things pre-snap, you know, and it's a big advantage for the quarterbacks that can do it. But this kind of causes, I would think, quarterbacks to focus post snap. So you got to process real time. Guys are trying to win their one-on-ones, and you've got to decipher like, oh, Reddick's coming this time. They dropped Graham, or they dropped Josh Sweat, or Josh Sweat's coming. They dropped Reddick. So maybe he's gonna kind of, muddy the water on that inside receiver.
right,
You got to come off of it. Maybe that was your first option.
right,
You got to deal with Slay covering your guy on the outside and Bradbury. So, not getting too in depth, but I do like the 5-man front. I'm still hopeful that Jordan Davis gets a little bit more playing time. I want to see more of Jordan Davis.
yeah,
Not that other guys are playing bad, but the best way to develop is to get on the field. So in TJ Edwards, I've watched Breaking the Birds, where they break down players. Man, he does a phenomenal job, guys. Go check out the YouTube channel Breaking the Birds. It's really good if you like to see kind of some X's and O's. If you want to be affirmed on like how a guy's actually playing, it's a great
right,
thing to watch. So he broke down TJ Edwards, man. He said he's playing at an elite level in coverage, in run stuffing. Like he's playing at a very high level. So if we get a lead in this game, I would like to see Nakobe Dean come in and
Yeah.
get, because why? Because I want him to develop. Like get him in the game, get him some reps. Like maybe Edwards gets hurt down the line. Dean needs to have a little bit of experience. We want to develop all the players we can. So I'd like to see some young guys get in more. Davis, I mean, needs to be rotating just a little bit more, I think. But that's all I've got for this one, brother. What do you? Any last thoughts about the Jaguars? I'm excited.
No, no, I don't think so. Return Doug Peterson should be cool. I don't think he'll get booed. I think he's gonna get some more cheer than booing. The more I've kind of like listened to things and talked and like heard, I don't know. That's just my feeling. I think it's insanity to boo him because he, I mean, really, he only left or got fired because they wouldn't let him keep his coordinators or bring what coordinators he wanted, and they were trying to make movements. So yeah, I hope they don't boo him, but it is what it is. I think he might be muted.
Sorry, yeah, my son was diggling the handle on my door, so I got my weight bench pushed up against the door so he can't get in. But yeah, I'm 100% gonna cheer for Doug, and I want Doug to succeed. I love Doug. Like I like Doug as a person. Like I think it'd be fun to get a beer with Doug because he's just a real guy.
Yeah,
I think he was his first time as a head coach, dude, and head coach is different.
yeah,
Now it reminds me kind of like I don't want to get off in the weeds too much, but like in my business, like there's people who can be great salespeople, but then there's people who can't like be self-employed salespeople. There's people who can sell, but they can't buy their leads and manage their money and worry about all this other stuff, you know? And being a head coach is a little bit like that. Like, hey, you're a play caller, great. You know one side of the ball, great. You got a feel for calling the game, great. Being a head coach is like you're involved in scouting, you're involved in everything. So
right.
his first time, he won a Super Bowl. 5 years, 3 years in the playoffs. The best Eagles team that I've seen put together, they won the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. Like, how do you keep your hot air balloon from deflating when you're soaring high and you're high in the sky and your best player, the guy who was voted the number 3 overall player in the entire league that year on the NFL Top 100, he tears his ACL in like the 14th game of the year. You're the
Right.
number 1 seed. And that's just an amazing job of leadership to keep those guys together. Guys didn't quit. Guys didn't hang their head. Like, as a fan, I was like, damn, man, like I'm not going to completely write us off, but man, like it's really hard to win a Super Bowl. And we just lost our best player.
Right.
So he's amazing. I'm gonna cheer for him. I want him to succeed, and I'm excited. I'm a Trevor Lawrence fan. I watched him play against Ohio State, man. And this is going longer than I intended, but he's a lot tougher than I thought. He took some massive hits in that game, and he made some big time plays. So cheering for Doug, just not this week. I'll cheer for him, but then I want to beat the Jaguars. And I saw a little short actually where they were asking Doug about what do you think how do you think the fans will receive you? And he's like, well, it's hard to tell. I hope it's good, but it is what it is. And I played in that. I coached in that city for a few years, so I know exactly what it's all about.
Right.
Probably a mix of good and bad. So I would bet money that it's a standing ovation. Personally.
Yeah, I would hope, but yeah, like we've seen before, we Jalen Rager you expect, different things like that you expect, but yeah, I don't think we should get anything but good praise to Doug for what he did, but We'll see.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting.
We'll see. All right, guys. Well, hey, we'll see you. We're going to do another episode again today later, reacting to the Eagles Jaguars games. This will be the first reaction that we do immediately following post game. So that's going to be fun and exciting while everything's fresh on our head. Guys, if you like this type of content, please like, subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram at the.birdbrothers. Same logo you see on the YouTube channel. And like, subscribe, comment below. We appreciate the support. All right. Have a great day.